Good evening, everybody, and welcome inside the Burridge Gymnasium here at McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario. We are mere seconds away from the opening serve of semi-final number one, the number one ranked Trinity Western University Spartans, the number 5 ranked McMaster Marauders. I'm Jared Brown, Tom McCabe with me on the call. We're ready to go. This should be a beauty. Elser, first serve, taken there by Richards. Pass off the net. Doty bump set, back row, pass lint, roll shot, dug up there by Kern. Schreimer off the net, quickly outside to Lepke. And the McMaster block is on the net. First point of the semifinal goes to the Spartans.
Very fitting, Jared. The first attack for the Trinity Western Spartan goes outside to number 8, Eric Lepke. Obviously, if you didn't watch the quarterfinal yesterday of Trinity taking on the Windsor Lancers, Lepke wasn't even in the gym at all. Reportedly battling some sickness, was back at the team hotel. I'm sure they're very thrilled, and fans are very happy to see him back in the lineup in the left side position for the Spartans.
Elser, big serve, goes into the net, side out Marauders. And interestingly enough, this is the 3rd year in a row these two teams have met at the national championship. 2 years ago in this exact same building, the national final, which Trinity won 3-1. And then last year it was the semifinals, which Trinity beat McMaster along the way to back-to-back national championships.
Yeah, Trinity taking the last 3 meetings against these Marauders in the national tournament.
It's Ashenko back to serve. We got a packed house here today at the Burridge. Standing room only. Pass there by Richards. Doty goes back to him on the left. Dug up by Ashenko. And down to the floor.
Andrew Richards hit just a mere 158% on offense yesterday. That was his 3rd lowest offensive percentage of the season, but still was able to notch 13 kills, although met with 7 errors. I'm sure Dave Preston looking for a bit more efficiency from the all-around leader on this McMaster squad. You see an ace there for number 1, David Doty.
Yeah, Doty, compared to some of the huge serves we're going to see in this match between these two teams, went for the jump float on that one there, but it caught Elser in a little bit of a bad spot, off the arms and into the scorekeeper's table. So Mac's first lead of the day, 3-2. Doty after Lepke, passed off the net. Schreimer back row, Kern. Big dig there by Coppers, but it's tight. Doty goes up to try to save it with one hand. And it's going to be a lift call against Doty. Valiant effort, but what a great dig there by Coppers just to extend that rally.
Yeah, great defensive effort there from the captain of this Marauders team, and some great serving early on by Doty. Mac really going to have to try to serve tough against a very talented Trinity team. Trinity likely having a bit of an advantage in the middle.
Richards on the right, and big time stuff block there. Eric Lepke and Jackson Howe teaming up.
Both of the Trinity middles jumping to touch a bit over 12 feet each. So going to be a tough block for McMaster to hit around, although they definitely faced a very good blocking team yesterday in the Montreal Carabin.
Yeah, on this McMaster team, I mean, a lot of these players have represented Canada at the international level, and they are experienced playing against these teams now. Trinity is the 3rd year in a row they've played against each other, but still, it's hard to go up against a block that is that high, like Elser, Howe, Ashenko. Bennett Swan, big kill in the middle, and Swan, he'd be new to this experience, only his first year of eligibility, but he had some big moments in that match last night against Montreal.
Yeah, he did. The rookie stepped up, like we mentioned before, member of the OUA all-rookie team. Swan notching 5 kills yesterday, hitting 500%, efficient outing from him.
And that pipe from Elser just hit off the tape and out of bounds, but there was a lot of court to hit at. And this Trinity Western team known to really move the ball around. Schreimer, a bit of a wizard out there with some of the sets that he can pull off, and that's why he was named the USports Player of the Year for this season. Richard serve off the arms of Elser and into the crowd. So a couple early aces for McMaster off the arms of Elser, and Elser known as really a great passing left side, one of his strengths to his game.
Richards going right at him with the tough spin serve early. Some great serving pressure from the Marauders early on.
That serve from Richards goes into the net. I mean, there's so many storylines here, Tom. There's dynamics to this match. Like I said, playing 3 years in a row now at the Nationals. And, it's obviously a bit of a different MAC team than 2 years ago when they hosted here, where they were the number 1 seed coming into the tournament. Coming in here as number 5 as Lepke's serve goes long. But still, OUA champs, right? Coming in here with lots of confidence. And it's amazing how it's the same Final Four 2 years in a row, same 2 semifinals as UBC and Alberta will go head-to-head at 8 o'clock. Bennett Swan back to serve, and that one goes into the net. And Swan, I think, maybe hit that one a bit further cross court than he was thinking. Kind of hit it hard enough, but because he was going at such an angle, it went into the net.
Yeah, need a little more muscle to get that one over the net. Like you mentioned before, Jared, bit of a different lineup than the last time these two teams played on this floor in this tournament.
Yeah, you could Passelin on the right, so you can make quite a lineup of players who are no longer on these two teams. You know, I would feel pretty good about my chances if my three outsides were Shearhorn, Slater, and Marr.
Absolutely.
Not to mention, Jason McCarthy also played in that game, not here. Demienko, Coker. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Kozlowski is libero, but these two programs, it's the models of consistency the last few seasons here. And USports Volleyball is Kotkevich gets the block there on Kern. And that's ultimately the mark of a great program, right? Losing players and replacing them with players the next season, just continue moving these programs forward.
Yeah, absolutely. We can really look no further than on the Trinity Western side. He's off the floor right now, but Jackson Howe, the first-year middle for the Spartans, who's kind of stepped in, replacing their normal starter in the middle. Aaron Betcher just doing a terrific job. Was able to talk to Trinity assistant coach Joel Jansen before the game, and he just spoke so highly of Jackson Howe. As Trinity's going to take an early timeout here, but speaking so highly of the youngster who stepped in, played a huge role on such an accomplished program, and just really couldn't have said better words about the young man in the middle for the Spartans.
One thing that's interesting about this matchup, and it's hard to not draw those connections to past matchups, right? And because these two teams aren't in the same conference, you usually have to look for their matches against each other at the national tournament to really draw parallels. And 2 years ago in this national final here in Hamilton, McMaster came out house on fire, won the first set, and then it was Trinity who made some adjustments and was able to pull away, win the match 3-1. But the second and third sets were very close. They kind of weathered the MAC storm, dealt with the crowd, and then really pulled away in the fourth. And now here we are again, 2 years later, same two teams. Some players are the same, some players are different, but that's still that home crowd advantage, right? That being comfortable here for McMaster, really playing well so far, forcing Trinity to call a timeout. But Trinity has this amazing ability to continue to adapt throughout the course of the match, and we've seen it all season long from them, and that's ultimately how you win the Canada West Conference, as Ashenko gets the kill on the middle out of the timeout.
Yeah, and another interesting point Joel Jansen brought up to me was, I said, well, how do you sort of deal with the pressure playing in front of such a packed house? And he sort of looked at me and said, what do you mean? We're normal to this. It's easy for us. They almost enjoy it. He gave me some really good examples. Like, you look last year, the Canada West semifinal, they had to go into U of M's house, beat them in their home gym. They beat McMaster, obviously, a couple of years ago in the national championship game, and then last year's national championship, they took down a very talented Alberta Golden Bears team in their own barn. Just looked at me and said, we've done this before. We've always come out on top. We thrive on playing spoiler. Is what they're going to hope to do here today in our first semifinal.
Yeah, it's actually quite impressive, the run of playing hosts, just the way the draw has worked out, as that's an ace there for Marauders. Coppers, who served well yesterday as well, but say 2 years ago beating MAC in the final here at home, beating Alberta in the final last year. Said that game, the Canada West Final Four, was hosted by U of M. They're the #1 seed after the regular season. I was in attendance. One of the best volleyball crowds I've ever been a part of in Winnipeg. It was just fantastic. There was over 3,000 people in attendance. It was just a blast. And then, again here now, playing MAC at home again here. And I think a lot of, great teams, they thrive in those situations, right? They enjoy playing that spoiler role.
Two players he especially mentioned who loved doing that spoiler role, the setter Schreimer, as well as Eric Lepke, both Winnipeg boys. So I don't know, maybe you can speak to this. He said there seems to be some attitude that comes from Winnipeg of loving, play spoiler and having people against them, sort of being, it's an us against the world mentality. They love to come out and spoil the party on a home floor for.
Yeah, I always find it interesting, the perspective that the rest of the country has for Winnipeg players. They view them as maybe not quite as talented as Ashenko gets a kill, at the club level, and you see some of these teams maybe a bit undersized and giving up some things to the, bigger, stronger teams from Alberta and Ontario, but they just feel they have this toughness to them. And, meanwhile, I feel like coaching in Winnipeg that you want to make your boys even tougher, so it's amazing how that all works, but they seem to have found something good. They have 3 Manitoba-born players on this lineup right now for Trinity Western, as Doty goes up high, slowed down there at the net by Schreimer, bumps it outside to Lepke, and Lepke, holy smokes! That one was taken off from the Hamilton Airport, miss hit.
That one ended up About 10 or 12 rows up here in the Burge Gymnasium.
Souvenir in the 5th row off that Lepke hit, and you see him kind of shaking his head a little bit. You don't see Eric Lepke miss hit a ball like that too often. 15-9, Doty serve, taken there by Lewin. Schreimer, back row, Kern. And Bennett Swan gets the block on Kern. And it's 16-9 for the Marauders early on. And everything's looking good for the Maroon so far.
Yeah, life really good for the McMaster Marauders early on. Largely in part to the serving pressure they put on Rate from the first whistle here, Jared. They know that if they can bring Schreimer off the net a little bit, make him a little more uncomfortable, he won't have as many opportunities to run the middle, which is really where I think, like we said, Trinity has the advantage. We've also seen some great offensive display early on from the Marauders. Andrew Richards just going right around that block for the Mac kill. David Doty doing a really nice job distributing the ball early, giving it to his middles as well, giving them a chance. But like we see there, the Trinity Western Spartans can pass well and open up some opportunities for their middles. They both get up high, they both hit hard, and they'll be tough to stop throughout this match.
It's funny because I had the opportunity to be here 2 years ago for this tournament. I don't want to continue to harp on it, but it kind of feels like deja vu here a little bit for me. You know, these two teams going at it, same court, same seat, same crowd. And, you know, the first set was very much this way where McMaster's came out on fire. And the challenge, and so the thing is, the coaches, the players, they're aware of that, right? The common people, the common denominators in this matchup, they know how that went 2 years ago, and that's going to be the challenge. Is, you know, Trinity lost the first set yesterday to Windsor as well, right? And bounced back and played quite well in those next 3. So, but right now, McMaster is firing on all cylinders, but it's hard to stop this Trinity team for the whole night, right? And that's the key is, can you do it for a while? And the serving is the key, and that's where UBC was successful against Trinity earlier in the year, is they served really tough, and that's what Mac has done well so far. And that's why they're up 6 points, 16-10, and Schreimer goes back to the line. Copper's pass off the net. Doty all the way outside to Passelant. And cross court, Bergen diving save. Schreimer looks to track it down, but can't come up with it. And it's a side out for the Marauders. What has been a very balanced attack, if you look at the stats, every player on the floor for the Marauders has a point already, and nobody has more than 2. So things are very balanced.
Yeah, nice to see Matt Passelant already with 2 kills, which doubles his total from yesterday's game against Montreal. He eventually ended up getting subbed out for Craig Ireland coming off the bench for McMaster, but he hit negative 300 in yesterday's match. A few nice swings from him early, nice to see. Hopefully he'll find his rhythm to give Mac a big boost moving forward.
Yeah, I'm just watching the timeout here with Coach Josephs and Tom, and you know, it's just interesting to see very quickly a very animated timeout, but lots of instruction here. You know, this is not necessarily, okay, take a seat, relax type of timeout. This is
get in here. I
have a lot of things to say to us right now, and they're very intently listening. So we'll see what they're able to do. I mean, honestly, at this point, Tom, this set's a write-off, right? You're down 18-10. You're not coming back. I mean, at this level, for the most part, teams of this caliber, it's not necessarily, okay, let's try to come back and win the first set. It's how do we make adjustments to win this match.
And you think at some point you also sort of have to consider, all right, we know we might not win this set, so if you're a player like Adam Schreimer, do you really keep trying to go to your number one weapon to try to claw your way back into the game? Or I've almost heard before, you kind of got to start setting for the next set. You try to distribute things a little bit and really sort of keep Matt guessing where you might be going for the rest of the match.
And the best way to do that is set the middle, right? Anytime you run the middle, it's just so important. I think for players who are watching, if you're a setter out there and you're listening to us, the more you run the middle, the easier it gets to score, right? And it's just such an important piece to hold that middle of the court and control that middle of the court. And you have a 12-footer like Howe, it's easier to do. As coming out of the back row is Richards on the pipe, and everything working right now for Mac. It's looking good.
Yeah, Mac running a nice combination of, we saw it yesterday as well, actually, with Richards. They like to really move him around in the back row, which can kind of vary rally to rally, sort of just where the ball ends up. For example, if Passelant has to move in shallow to play, the first touch or something, they're comfortable moving Richards for the C ball. They're comfortable bringing him in for the pipe as well. Just a really versatile offensive player and provides a lot of different looks that can be tough to defend.
Side out there for the Spartans. We have a substitution checking in for Howe, his former teammate in club and Calgary mate. Maddox Greaves. We saw Greaves come in off the bench yesterday to serve. He can mix it up. He can go spin serve. He can go float serve. Go kind of that sploat like he just did there. Richards, nice pass. Doty outside. Coppers right over top of Kern, and Trinity block was also on the net. And I think we saw the evolution and maturation in one match of Brandon Coppers last night. I think he started off a little bit slower, and I spoke with Coach Preston before the game about how being a man on the team and being the man on the team, right? And even though Richards maybe with the OUA Player of the Year recognition and being named a first-team All-Canadian as Lepke gets the kill to the back row, but Coppers, he has that ability to take a match over offensively, and he was struggling to score points early in the game, and we talked about it, how he just continued to battle, and by the end of the match he was playing so well, and he's come out here with a great start today as well, as Kern serves, goes long, side out, 21-13 now for Mac.
Yeah, as Coppers goes back to serve, like you just mentioned, we saw him really come alive in the second half of the match yesterday. He had 3 service aces himself, 25 total points in the game. And Mac really just stepped up their offensive game, largely thanks in part to the play of Brandon Coppers. You see a rocket of a serve catch the back line there for the ace.
That was a huge bomb there from Coppers, and he is certainly in the zone and feeling it. There's a couple Mac faithful in the DJ Jukebox spot up there that are certainly liking that one. Another massive rip there from Coppers. He's going to come in and hit the pipe, but it goes into the net. I like the creativity on the play, though.
I think the roof may have come off this place just a little bit if he had connected on that one after the service ace. If he had followed that right up with a 2-ball pipe, that would have been something.
We're seeing that more and more, players kind of expanding their horizons on what balls they can hit. As Kodkevich on the 30, dug up there by Kern. Schreimer on the run, outside, Lepke off the arms of Pereira.
Lepke looking good in the few swings he's had here early.
Lewin will serve again, 22-15. Pereira, big pass, Doty outside, back row, Passelin, and another block there, Lepke and Ashenko. And this is that interesting part of the set, right, where you got to think if Trinity scores one more point, I wouldn't be surprised if Preston called timeout here, right? But you don't want to give in that momentum. Like, it's hard as a coach. You don't want to admit, hey, we kind of want to slow things down a little bit here, but establishing things, right, setting things up, moving forward. See if Trinity can chip another one here. Richards off the top of the hands. Bergen, good slowdown. Lewin high, bump set. Going to go up to the net, and that's just put down there by Kodkevich and Doty.
Bit too much power on the out-of-system attempt set from Lewin, but a great job by Mac recognizing where that ball was going, putting a good play on it.
And then Kodkevich now back on the line. 23-16, 7-point lead for the Marauders. Jump float coming over, taken there by Bergen. Schreimer, back row, Kern, cross court, and they're going to say back row attack as Kern stepped over the attack line. And the Daft Punk rings out as they are 1 point away from taking this opening set, and that gets some of the Mac faithful up on their feet here, led by former Marauder Alex Elliott.
Great to see some of the Mac alumni back in their former jerseys supporting their team.
And not a great pass there from Bergen. Outside, Lepke. Coppers diving attempt, but it goes into the crowd. But they got a few more chances here, obviously. This would be quite the comeback.
Could be. Anything is possible.
24-17. Kevin Garnett once said that.
Yeah, he did.
He made that expression famous.
But quite the hole to dig out of here if you're Trinity.
Coppers, great pass. Doty quickly swan, and no touch. That's long. Preston thought there was one. I think he got the word from the Mac bench that no, they didn't think there was a touch.
Interesting to see what the percentage is for McMaster in this first set. That was one of the few unforced errors we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been pretty much unstoppable from the attack. That's not a great set. Richards goes up with the joust and somehow squeezes it through Schreiber. And Mac takes the opener 25-18 and leads this first USports Men's Volleyball National Championship semifinal 1-0 as the teams will switch sides. And that's the dream start there for Mac, getting on the board early, especially after last night. Okay, we're going to quickly step aside, and we will be back with you. You're watching live USports.
Every day's a chance to flip the script. An invitation to take everything we know and reinvent it. It takes courage. It's an obsession. Never settling for just good enough. It takes a true creator to make something out of nothing. It takes guts. Calling all creators. Those who see obstacles as a chance to win bigger. Calling all creators. The changers. The difference makers. The boundary breakers. The tomorrow takers. Calling all creators. Get up. Invent. Adapt. Write new rules. Calling all creators. It's a new day. Create something.
Welcome back, everybody, inside the Burge Gymnasium here in Hamilton, Ontario. We are streaming live from McMaster University. Jared Brown, Tom McCabe got the call. McMaster took the opener 25-18. And Tom, you got the stat rundown for us here after that first set.
Yeah, we mentioned we were interested to see what Mac was hitting after that last error there by Bennett Swan. An impressive 350 on the total team attack. Only 4 errors to go along with 11 kills, whereas Trinity Western only hitting 250, which is lower than their average season total. But the main thing that really stuck out was the McMaster serving 4 aces in that opening set. They really made life difficult for setter Adam Schreimer, not able to run as much middle as he would have liked. If Trinity Western's able to pass ball, there's not many teams in the country who are going to be able to consistently slow down the middles, Howe and Dashenko. So I know that may be an adjustment Coach Josephine wants to make in between sets here, just try to nail down the passing a little bit. But if you're McMaster, you want to try to keep up that pressure from the service line.
So here we go, set number 2. Serve from Kolkevich starts it off. Pass there from Elser, middle to Howe. Dug up by Passlint. They're going to go back to him on the back row. He's going to put the free ball over the net. Taken there by Bergen. Schreimer back to Howe again, and that time just missed set. And he's up there so high and for so long that you can really kind of expand your range of what ball you can set to him. And that first one I think was a little bit mistimed. You still connect with it, but the second one just missed. And the first point of the second set goes to Mac. Tough short serve. Nice job by Elser. They go outside to Lepke, and Lepke off the hand. I mean, it's just incredible watching Lepke here for somebody that I've seen. I was telling you before the match off air that, I've known Eric since he was in grade 6. And playing 14U volleyball as a 12-year-old, you knew he was going to be a good player. I always thought he'd be a setter, growing up, and then he started seeing him attack. And I mean, he's really probably, for me, the best player I've ever seen come through the evolution of being a player. Not saying he's the best player I've ever seen in person, but it's just as a second year, the things he's been able to do, it's been quite impressive.
Yeah, I never had the pleasure of watching him play in person until today. So far, he's really lived up to everything I've heard. Just an insanely powerful attacker, one of the best servers in the country. I know they're really happy to see him healthy and out here playing compared to last night.
And I know I don't feel as bad about all those times that my team's lost to him now when we're seeing what he's doing here at this level. As that ball from Howe was going off the block and out of bounds, but Lepke on the cover wasn't sure if it was going to be out, so he took it, and then he missed it. So 3-1 here now for Matt.
Been a good battle of the rookies so far in the middle. Bennett Swan and Jackson Howe going at it toe-to-toe. As Bennett Swan comes out on top in that battle. Sure, we'll see a couple more as the game progresses.
The serve from Doty continues to give the Spartans trouble as that ball set way too tight. Good job on the cover, kept alive. Kern, left side, off the hands. Coppers with the save. Doty goes quickly back to Paslant. High tip, Lepke's there. Schreimer to Kern, push too far. And they're going to call the Spartans on the net. Not sure who it was. I don't think it was Kern. It must have been Schreimer on the set.
It must have been, yeah. It seemed the set was a bit tight, but Kern seemed to be fairly clean on that tip attack, but referee number 2 doesn't think so.
And this is where the mettle of Trinity is really going to be tested. This is, you know, as accomplished as they are, as we'll let this play finish out. Lepke cross court, and man, they're just getting to everything right now. There's not a lot of clean balls being hit to the floor. Maybe some off the hands, they're getting some touches, but McMaster doing a really good job defending their court. But the thought I wanted to pose here to you, Tom, is this is, you know, as successful as they are, winning the Canada West and all their great accomplishments in the season, this is one of the younger teams they've ever had, you know, as far as players who are actually on the court. And in this situation, it's going to be curious here. Down a couple points in the second. How are they going to continue to push forward as Mac just not letting up here at all? The foot is on the gas.
Yeah, I think if you're Coach Preston, a message you'd be preaching to your team before this one is really just looking for a much better start than they had yesterday. I think it's good now. This is their second match of the tournament in front of their home crowd. So able to get some of those nerves out of the way, able to, you know, find their footing just a little bit. Who cares? You see something like that, how are you going to stop that? Incredible pipe run to Lepke.
We've seen a couple great pipes, you know, over the last couple days, some big connections, but that's about as clean as it's ever going to get on that run.
Adam Schreimer, one of the best setters in the country at running that pipe, especially when it's Lepke in the back row. Just so fast, so hard to stop. You might be able to know it's coming, but you still got to do something to defend it. Not many teams can.
And Kern, you know, I've really been impressed with Kern. I gotta say, I mean, he was a highly recruited player. He played at the Nukes Volleyball Club. They lost the national championship final to Eric Lepke, ironically enough, and now here they are as teammates. But you know, he didn't see a lot of court time in the last 2 years. A little bit of spot duty last season, but he just looks stronger to me, physically stronger, and that's helped as it was a bit kind of a longer, leaner, wiry body, right? And now he's looking like to put a little bit more muscle and just hitting that ball that much harder. He's doing well for them out there. (6-4) Mac, pass from Elser off the net. Schreimer goes back to him on the left side, and you know, I mentioned this yesterday. Remember we talked about how after wins they won the first set. This Trinity team, they just seem to have this quality to them that they're just unflappable. It doesn't mean they're not going to lose sets, right? And they can even lose matches, but they don't ever seem to kind of get too worried about things. They know if they just kind of keep pushing, eventually their talent's going to come through. And you see right now, they don't look too nervous or worried. They just know they're in for a dogfight. They know this MAC team is playing some great volleyball.
Yeah, Jansen again, just going back to the good conversation I was able to have with him before this match, just said MAC's a very good team, especially when they get to play on their home floor. He knew it was going to be a fight. But I think, like you said, they just have this quality where they seem to come out. They don't seem too bothered by dropping the opening set. They can really rely on their skills. I think a lot of that just comes down to the preparation they put in all year. And things like that as well, as we see Lepke with the second pipe early on in this set, and that looks just almost unstoppable.
Remember how I said that the pipe doesn't get much cleaner than the last one he hit? That one might have been even better. As that's basically, I mean, we see it at the international level too, right? If run properly, it's unstoppable. The only way you stop it is if it hits you, right? That's the way it's just the way the ball is being set and the run that it comes off. As blockers and defenders, you don't know where the ball is going, right? That's why it's so effective. And I mean, literally, he just comes flying out of nowhere to hit that. That's a great run. And Matt can do it the same way with Coppers and Richards too. That's what separates these upper echelon teams, as Coppers finds the sideline on that ace. It was close. But I think at any level, it's the ability to run the pipe effectively you know what, as you trickle down, whether it be international, university, club, high school, whatever it is, the teams that run it well, they seem to be the teams who are the top of the caliber. As that's another huge serve from Coppers, and it goes off the arms of Kern and over the net, out of bounds. It's now a 4-point advantage. Josephson here, he's always writing something. I've always wanted to ask him, what are you writing down? Like what, it's just out of curiosity, you know, what after a serve like that, like I think the fix is obvious, right? We just got to pass the ball, but always scribbling something.
I want to know where he got that clipboard. It's a beautiful custom wood Trinity clipboard.
Yeah, that's a heavy duty.
Yeah, but just going back to the point, I like what you said about the pipe, that it's so effective and so important to run at whatever level you're at. And I mentioned this in the first broadcast of the game with Kyle Campo, just when you can run that pipe consistently and hit it well, it's just such an added dimension, because the other team can at most put up 3 blockers against you. When you can run that extra 4th attacker out of the back row, you're already at a 4-on-3 advantage, and it just makes life so much easier, especially if you have good middles who will sell their attack and can also, you know, when they do get set, they can contribute. But if you run that pipe as fast as a team like Trinity does, it looks like it's being popped right to the middle. Ideally, the other middle commits, and then boom, you just have one of the best attackers in the country going up with so much open court to hit at.
Well, I mean, it's the equivalent as we see Lepke score on the tip there now, and I think Eric Lepke feels maybe he doesn't feel 100% out there, but he looks 100%. We'll say that. But you know what? The pipe, it's kind of like the equivalent of a blitz in football, right? It's just simply we're sending more people than you can defend, right? If you have 5 offensive linemen and we're sending 7 rushers, somebody's going to be rushing free. Doesn't matter what you do, and it's kind of like on the pipe. You only have 3 blockers. Now I'm sending 4 attackers. I'm going to exploit your weakness somewhere. If you wait, right, and you don't, and you stop wait, and you wait for the pipe, I'm just going to set in the middle, and he's going to score all day too, right? So it's really something that's just the ability to run it. You kind of just said to the other team, hey, if you're going to run that, we just roll the ball back to your side and you score, and that's the way it goes. As that one not quite timed as well, and that's where they're able to dig it up. Outside to Richards. Howe and Schreiber team up for the block, and you know, I think it's okay in volleyball to do that sometimes. I think as younger players, how do we stop that? Well, you don't stop the pipe. You stop them from being able to run it. You serve tough, right? That's how you stop it. You can't run that pipe out of system. It has to be a perfect pass to run something of that speed. Yeah, that's a ball like that there, right? On that pass, all you can do is set the ball outside as it's put back onto the max side. It's just a kind of set with the knuckles, and it goes off the block. What a great play there as Coppers simply just poked it outside in a beach play, and they get the kill off the block.
Coppers leading the game already in points. 8 points for him, going along with 4 service aces, contributing to that 8-point total, but a real nice assist there from him on the pokey set.
Doty goes back to serve. The Marauders lead by 2, 12-10. Jump float taken there by Elser. Schreimer outside, Kern, and Kern uses the hands. And Kern almost hit that one on the way down, Tom.
Yeah, it seemed like it may have mistimed it a bit. It is tough when you bring Schreimer closer to the left side like that, trying to keep that same timing. Obviously, you want to try to run that ball as fast as you can, but you seem to mistime that one. Not to worry, though. Still comes away with the kill.
Lepke goes for the rollie, taken there by Swan. They go back to him in the middle. And a great job there, passing your own ball and then going up and hitting it. Lepke kind of tried to hope to catch the Mac receive deep, and they were very deep, but unfortunately for him, Swan was there to take it.
Seen some interesting, different types of serve from Lepke early. That one was a little soft rollie. Had the other one where he tossed it up as a spin serve, but then floated it over.
And there's that overload set you were talking about, and that's run to the speed that needs to be. When the setter is pushed all the way over to the left side of the court, he can't set that ball super high. It's quick, fast. Elser came in after he passed it, used the hands effectively, and now we've got a 1-point game.
And that's also a play where it's really important for your middles to still be able to run and get around your setter. So you can either have the option to run the middle or go outside, which really makes it difficult for the opposing team's block to read where that set's going to go, especially if it stays so quick.
Richards goes back to Passalent. Elser with the slowdown goes back to the max side. Richards again back to Passalent, and this time finds the corner. Had the one-on-one look. The defense had to come up and try to take away something sharp, and instead he hit the ball to the deep corner, and Mac let it go. Set assist there to Andrew Richards.
Love the decision from Richards, going right back to Passalent after the first ball didn't work out. It's Passalent already. We see a really balanced Mac attack. Passalent now, that was his 5th kill of the game.
Schreimer from his knees outside to Elser, and Elser absolutely tattoos that one. That's his hardest hit of the game.
That was hit right in front of us, and boy, you could feel the power on that one as he just destroyed that cross court. Seeing a much tighter set already than we did in the first one. Trinity's offense kind of starting to come alive a little bit.
Yeah, Trinity's definitely starting to put some things together here, but there's not much defense for an attack like that. As well as Elser hit the last one, Copper says, all right, I'll see yours and I'll raise you one. 15-13, we're 1 point away from the technical here. 2-point advantage for Mac, and what has been some fantastic volleyball. And this is just our first of 2 semifinals of the night, so don't go anywhere. We're in for a long one. Passlin, spin serve, taken by Bergen, goes over the net and put back there. Some miscommunication from the Marauders. Chance here for Trinity to capitalize, and they do. Kern out of the back row, and Mac's going to want that one back. 15-14 with Elser going to the line. And this is the style of play that I expected. You know, 2 heavyweights just basically trading blows back and forth. Interesting, Kodkevich doing up his shoelace, and the referee kind of noticed it and then blew in the serve anyways as Elser goes back. Pereira, great diving save. Outside to Coppers, roll shot. Kern there with the save. Schreimer outside, Lepke, and off the top of the hand, Richards with the save. Pereira's going to chase it down. Coppers just going to put a free ball over here to the Trinity side. It puts it short, taken by Schenko. They go outside Lepke, and the short tip. Pereira comes all the way across, outside to Coppers, swing, cross court. Bergen, what a great dig. Good rally here. Schreimer, Lepke, outside, and this time they don't have an answer, but that's maybe the best rally of the day so far, Tom.
The best rally of the tournament. Started off Jordan Pereira with a great dive and stop just to dig that serve up, keep it in play. And then a few additional great digs, especially on the Trinity side, is obviously Lepke with the kill to finish that one off. But terrific block defense from the Spartans to slow down a few hard Mac attacks in that last rally.
And that's a missed set to Kodkevich, and the Spartans, they're just battling here, have now taken a 16-15 lead. And are you seeing that unflappable quality that I told you about, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. 3-0 run there to take them into the technical timeout. Lots of high fives and smiles going around on the Trinity side. And like we said, this is what we expected. They came out, they're a little rough. We saw a few quick timeouts from Josephine in the first set with lots to say to his team. And now they've come out, they seem to make the proper adjustments, and that's put them up 1. Although it isn't a huge margin, definitely nice to see as you hit that late set, milestone with the technical timeout. As you see just a few replays here, really been an offensive battle for both teams, kind of just trading side outs, it seems. Elser with a nice swing. Both teams blocking very well, and we've seen a lot of kills. Absolutely.
There's that pipe.
Utilizing that block.
Nice look.
That is going to be tough to stop if Trinity can continue to run. It's funny that sometimes your Trinity, you almost prefer Lepke to be in the back row sometimes, because it seems there's not much at all they can do to that, whereas they seem to be throwing up a bit of a better block on him on the left side.
Tom, do you remember when you were a kid and you're grade 8, grade 9, you're probably a little bit in high school too, but you think, oh, phew, their best players in the back row, he can't really hurt us back there, right? And now it's like, well, for starters, he's got to serve, so that's not good because, these guys, the best players go back there, and Coppers and Lepke, go back and just rip on these spin serves, and then they start hitting the pipe, and you're thinking, oh, it's almost better when they're in the front row.
Yeah.
Big high pass outside to Coppers. Elser with the dig. Bergen's going to chase it down. High bump set for Lepke, and Lepke just right over top, but it goes out of bounds. Side out Marauders. We're tied at 16.
Nice job by Bergen there on the out assist set just to keep that one on their side. It was a tough ball to play.
So they're going 4-man receive again here on this Copper serve. They feel it's just too hard. They need to get as many receivers in as possible. And that one's taken by Bergen. Elser steps in to set it. Crowd wanting a 2 hits call, but the hit from Lepke goes long anyways, so point goes to the backside. So back-to-back errors for Lepke.
The point I was just going to make, and I think if I'm Adam Schreimer here, if I get a good pass, probably want to give it back to Lepke. Let him try to come up with the kill, find his rhythm back again after 2 out-of-system attacks. Let him hit 1 in-system.
That serve goes long. Well hit. It's interesting, again, always these evolutions of volleyball and how the game is played. As we see, Greaves is going to check in here for Schenko, but, when you're younger, you have 4 or 5 receivers. right? You start off, you have all these guys out there passing. Then you get older, you go to 3 guys, sometimes 2 guys, and now we get older again, and the serves start coming so hard, you got to go back to 4 guys again. So, you know, you kind of think, oh, it's below us to have four receivers. As Greaves just continues, he hasn't really been able to seem to find his niche here on his serves as that one goes long. But you think, oh, we don't need 4 passers, right? We're good enough now. We're strong enough. We're big enough to go back to 3. But no, when you get to this level, and that serve is coming that hard, you just don't have. You can't cover the whole court with 3 guys. That's why you got to go 4, and everybody takes a smaller piece. Kokevich goes to the line, taken there by Elser. Nice pass. Schreimer to Howe, and Howe off the hands. And I got to say, Swan has done a good job getting some touches on Howe. A lot of the kills have come off the hands, which is also smart attacking. These players here, they're not trying to hit the ball straight down. They're using those hands effectively, but there hasn't been a ton of clean kills to the floor as that serve from Schreimer goes into the net.
Yeah, Swan on that last play sort of seemed to be completely committing with Howe in the middle and was able to get pretty good block touch, but Howe just having that couple inches on top, hitting it off the fingertips of Bennett Swan.
And Swan and Howe, they'd be going against each other. The same eligibility here. They've been playing against each club the last few seasons and familiar with each other. As that pass from Elser, they go back to Kern, and Kern uses those hands. And I mean, that's pretty much a shot that you can't stop. Right, you hit that ball off the hands back onto your side. There's nothing a defender can do. It just takes the defense right out of the play.
Absolutely. Always looks nice to have a clean kill. Hitting it as hard as you're absolutely able to, but just as effective to utilize that block to your advantage.
That serve from Lepke goes into the net, so Mac is happy to get through that rotation. And now it's Richards going back to the line as the Marauders reach 21st, 20-19. Richards spin serve, taken there by Elser, way up high. Schreimer's going to have no choice but to just play it up there, and it catches the Spartans off guard. And now I wouldn't be surprised if we see timeout here from Josephson, and that's what will happen. 21-19, Marauders lead here in the second after they won the first set 25-18. And you kind of feel, obviously, we saw last night what can happen, down 2 sets, none, that came back. But these next few points are going to be pretty crucial in determining how the rest of this match is going to play out.
Yeah, if you're Trinity West, you can't be too worried. It's only a 2-point deficit, but obviously late in the set, the margin of error just becomes so much smaller. Really going to need to come out here, like the decision by Josephson, sort of icing the kicker, I guess, if you will, try to slow down the momentum of Max serving, which has really been tremendous in the early going of this semifinal. But all it takes is one pass. We mentioned Lepke's in the back row, where he is just as much a weapon as he could be in the front row. So wouldn't be surprised to see a nice pipe run from him in the next few points, as Mac has been unable to stop either of them so far.
So it's 21-19 for the Marauders, as Coach Josephson calls his first of 2 timeouts. Let's see if his Spartans can get a side out here. Serve from Richards goes long, so I think a good analogy there, Tom. Freezing the kicker made Richards think about it a little bit longer. We call those coaches' points. Chalk one up there. And now we're going to see substitution. Checking in here is Kozlowski, number 19, Jordan Kozlowski. Listed as a setter. He kind of came in here as sort of multi-tooled player, but more of a defensive specialist type role. Kozlowski's serve taken there by Richards. They go back to Passelin, and Elser goes up to slam Passelin on that one, and we're tied up 21-21. And this angle that we're at here, just makes for such good, you get such a good viewpoint here, Tom. We're right on the court, and Elser one-on-one shut the door on Passelin.
Great extension on the block by Elser.
Kozlowski served the first one from 1, went to 5, tried to go cross court the other way on that one, and didn't quite get all of it. Bit of a miss hit, goes into the net. So side out to the Marauders, as Bennett Swan will go back to serve. His team up 1, 22-21. And now we're kind of we're basically that deuce stage, right, where we're advantage to Mac. Elser quickly wiped off the block, diving save Doty. Passelin keeps it alive. Copper's going to try to put it over, goes to the Spartan side, passed up by Bergen. Pipe to Lepke. And again, it's
almost a great, no words for that.
It's just a great run,
yeah,
right? And what you can't defend as a blocker, you have to go with your guy. When the ball is passed like that, I mean, you can't leave a Shenko in open court to hit at.
The more offensive weapons you have, the more available that pipe attack becomes and the harder it becomes to stop. We're going
to have a yellow card here for a delay of game, I believe, as I think Copper's asked to tie his shoe. Interesting, I really noticed there was Josephson called Schreimer over to give him some instructions, and Doty came running over from position 5 to listen in to see if he could hear anything to try to pick up some intel. That's really smart on Doty's part. 22-22. Kearns jump float, passed up by Richards. Doty outside, Coppers, and a Shenko with the block. 23-22, Spartans. And now Coach Preston will call timeout. Josephson continues to scribble madly in the book. And I think I got a bit of a peek there, Tom, at the clipboard. I think he's basically doing some kind of not a charting per se, but sort of a tracking. Okay, a tracking of what Mac is running each rotation. So he's not necessarily writing down where they're hitting the ball to, but who's getting set off receive. That's kind of what it looked like to me. I don't want to give away all his secrets, but he's always writing something down. And I know that I kind of have a saying, if you're a coach on the bench, head coach, head coach is a little bit different, but assistant coach on the bench, you should have a pen and paper. You should have something in your hand. You should never be sitting on the bench with nothing, right? Yeah. You should be, even if it's keeping track of, a stat, something that you have that you're keeping track of that can help your team later on. And if you're an assistant coach sitting on the bench with nothing, I don't think you're doing your full job.
Yeah.
A substitution. Lewin has checked in here to serve. Taken there by Coppers. Doty, middle to Kotkevich. And there's a connection there. Peter Kotkevich with the kill out of a timeout. Kern will check back in here for Lewin. 23-23, and now we are officially at deuce. As whoever can win 2 in a row is now going to take this set.
I'll play a quick game to 2, but just going back to your point made about Josephson constantly scribbling, whatever it was seemed to work coming out of that last Trinity timeout. They went on a 4-1 run to put them up a point, and now Mac obviously has tied the game. We'll play a game to 2.
Paslin serve taken by Bergen. Middle to Ashenko, good slow down there by Kotkevich. They go outside to Elser, and Elser off the hands. It goes off the block and then into the aerial, as Preston wanted some clarification, but it was blocked first. Set point opportunity here now for Trinity. Coach Preston has a timeout, but is not using it. Going to let his team try to side out here with Elser on the line. Trinity fans now on their feet. They're outnumbered here big time, but doing what they can. Elser serve, taken there by Pereira. It's passed tight. Ashenko with the wipe, and we're tied up. One set apiece as Trinity takes the second, 25-23. And remember I talked about that deja vu from 2 years ago? Yeah, it's just getting stronger, Tom. Let me tell you, I got a great memory. I don't forget much, but this just feels very similar. You look a little bit different than the guys we were here with 2 years ago. That's all.
Yeah, right. Well, happy I can be here with you this year. As we've seen, a mirror of.
And when I say you look different, I mean you look sharp in that green tie. So we're going to quickly step aside. We're tied 1 set apiece. We'll be back with you for the start of the third on USports. Welcome back, everybody, to this first of two semifinals USports Men's Volleyball National Championship in Hamilton, Ontario. It's the #1 seed, two-time defending champs Trinity Western University Spartans and the hometown McMaster Marauders, seeded 5th. Mac got here after a big comeback victory yesterday over Montreal, down 2-0, pulled it out in 5. Trinity lost the first set as well, actually, and then won in 4 sets over Windsor. And this is some great volleyball, Tom. I mean, back and forth. It's like two heavyweights in that ring, slugging each other back and forth, you know, blow for blow. And we have the stats here. Who's leading the way for Trinity Western? Pretty impressive line there.
No surprise right now, it's Eric Lepke leading the way for Trinity with 12 kills. They've got 27 as a team, nearly half of them coming from the right arm of number 8, Eric Lepke. Trinity Western with a much better offensive showing in that second set, which they were able to come away with a close win, doubling their total from set 1 in terms of kills. They had 18 in the second after just 9 in the first. Hitting 382 as a team, and like we said, just going into that second set, Trinity Western just with that attitude of not looking shaken after dropping the first. They tied it up here, and now we'll see kind of where the momentum seems to shift. What could be a very pivotal third set, as this will put one team within a set of advancing to the national final.
Yeah, we're tied up at 1, so we got a best of 3 on our hands here. Copper's pass tight. Doty and Howe joust to the net, goes back to the Mac side. Tip deep down the line. It's going to be Kern who's going to go up, but Kodkevich and Richards. Huge block on Kern.
That usually is the result when you get a ball swung on that hard, that tight to the net. Trinity kind of made McMaster look good there. Nonetheless, a great block by Kodkevich and Richards.
He was so pumped there, he forgot he had to go back and serve. He was just loving being in the front row. He didn't want to have to go to the back and get taken out. So 1-0, Mac started the third set. Kodkevich on the line. Jump float and short. Taken there by Bergen. No free ball opportunity here for the Marauders. They go middle to Swan. Elser with the dig. Schreimer outside. Kern, it's tight. Wipes off the block. Smart play there by Jacob Kern.
The second sort of out of system type set we've seen, a little tight to the net, but that one a better shot selection from Jacob Kern as he's able to use the block and wipe that one out of bounds for the opening point for the Spartans in this third set.
Lepke goes for the jump float, and then Doty makes a valiant effort, but it goes out of bounds, so it went over the net, but outside the aerial. So Lepke maybe caught the Marauders a bit off guard with that one, as he kind of gave that float, I guess we call it, where he tosses it up like a spin serve and then hits it with the float. He does the same thing again, and that one's in on the line as it catches Coppers completely handcuffed.
Such a tough serve to defend. It's
if we look at the stats here, Lepke only 2 missed serves, so not necessarily like he's in a bad rhythm with the serve, but maybe just seeing something here as now he goes back to the spin serve. Taken there by Coppers. They go Paslant on the right, and that one hit long. And this is very, very important here, for Mac. This is danger zone. It's only 4-1. I know it's very early, but you do not want Trinity to get on a roll here and Mac to get out of rhythm. They've been very much in rhythm this whole game, and all of a sudden, right, we're going to see timeout. This is exactly what you don't want if you're the Marauders, is Trinity to start taking over the match. You don't want to be in that position.
No, absolutely not. And a big credit to Eric Lepke for the serving, really putting Mac in trouble, because the toss is the exact same, whether he chooses to go with the spin serve or the float serve. The toss looks identical. There's no way to really know which one he's going to go with. So a decent strategic move by Preston is calling the timeout, talk things over immediately before the gap becomes too much more than 4 points here, as we see just 5-1, but a good point you make that this is the time where Mac needs to sort of find a rhythm, momentum a bit with the Trinity Western Spartans after taking what was a very close second set that could have gone either way. Fell in the hands of the Spartans, and now they find themselves up 5-1. Obviously they're looking to push a little bit, widen out this gap so they can try to cruise a little bit in the later part of the set, but McMaster needing just one good pass, get a good side out, and try to get back to the service line where they've been really strong today.
And you know what? When you get to this stage of the game, Tom, when you're here, the Final Four Nationals, the talent, it's abundant on all 4 of these rosters, right? There's certainly no lack of talent in any position on any of these teams, as we see Coppers get slammed there by Elser and Howe, but now 6-1 Trinity. it's just the mental side, that toughness mentally of, being able to execute here. And, this is, as I said, this is a tough spot for Mac. You need to side out right now. You can't let this set get away from you here at all. As they go short serve, taken there by Swan. They go back to him in the middle, and it kept alive, but this is probably going to be 4 hits, and it will be as Doty puts it over and almost makes the basket on the hoop that went way up there. 7-1 now, and Preston's got to make a change. I think he's going to switch setters here, actually. Maybe give Doty a bit of a rest. As that serve from Lepke lets them off the hook, and it looked like Preston was going to go to Kelvin Lee, the backup setter here to Doty, and I don't think it's a situation where Doty's the one struggling, right? It's just you have to change something. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if he looked at maybe taking Swan out. He'd put Eklund in a little bit yesterday. That could be a possibility as well. But that'll certainly help as Doty comes back with the service ace, and who knows, maybe Doty saw that number 1 paddle go back to the warm-up area and said, hey, coach, don't take me out. I don't want to come off.
Yeah, Doty, an absolute competitor, loves to play in games like this. Talked to him before the game, said he was really fired up. He had a great game yesterday, I thought. Some really good blocking. He's had some great serves already this afternoon.
And Lepke on the pipe. Looked like they were setting the 60 to Howe. I mean, you don't want to, kind of continue to harp on this, but it's just a great run.
Absolutely.
You got to give credit where credit's due. It's a great pass, it's a great set, it's a great hit, and if you have 3 great contacts in a row, you're probably going to score a point. But Mac's not going to lose the game because of plays like that, right? Their team's going to get their kills. You don't lose because they get their kills. You got to make sure you execute and get your kills back, and that's the key, right? And a couple of those aces, Lepke served 3 aces on that run to get them this big lead here, and Doty got 1 back for them, so now they got chip away, and it's still early in this set. He's got to make sure they keep it close as Richards goes back to the line. A big serve of his own. It's the thing, they can do damage on that line too. As Elser cross court, Pereira comes across, keeps it alive. Doty quickly outside to Coppers, power tip, Lepke diving save. Schreimer, Kern, roll shot. Passelin saves. Pereira one-handed bump set. Just gonna be a chance here for Trinity to run something. Schreimer goes to Ashenko. A good slowdown from Passelin. Bit of a scramble rally here. Outside quickly to Elser, power tip, and he goes off the block and into the aerial. Wasn't the prettiest of rallies on either side. Both teams showing some ability to extend, but it's finished off by a nice play by Jesse Elser, the first-year left side.
Great play going off the block and into the aerial for the Trinity point, but a great hustle on defense from Jordan Pereira. Like you said, it wasn't the prettiest of rallies, but whatever you can do to keep that ball off the floor.
Coppers off the hands. Kern keeps it alive. Outside, Elser, and Elser off the hands of the late forming block of Swan and down, and it's now 10-4 Spartans.
Mac going to have to do whatever they can, really, like you said, just to keep chipping away and try to get themselves back into this set as quickly as they can. You don't want to look up and quickly have it be 15 or 16 nines. We are going to see a substitution here, same one we saw yesterday.
Yeah, Passelin will take a seat, and checking in will be Craig Ireland. Ireland, number 12. And Ireland did a great job, actually. I think he helped turn the momentum of that quarterfinal yesterday.
Yeah, came in sort of when they needed him.
Coppers looking for the hands, and he will find them. The ball was hit long, but off the block. Good call. So 11-5, Swan goes back to the line. And that's why I love this sport so much, Tom, is the ebbs and flows of momentum and the way teams can look so great sometimes and then look like they're struggling so much and then bounce right back as Ashenko's attack is dug up there by Richards. Coppers look for the roll shot, but Ashenko gets the block, and I think that's the really neat thing about it is that in a lot of other sports, both teams can look great at the same time, but in volleyball, it's very easy by you being your best, it makes the other team look really bad.
Absolutely.
Right, and you get those rare sets, like I think last one was a good example of it, where both teams were firing at a really high clip. They're both doing a really good job, and that made for such an exciting, finish to that whole set as Kotkevich comes back with the kill. But so often you're able to impose your will on that other team, and then all of a sudden, you look like you've lost all momentum, and then it comes back the next set, and the pendulum swings right back. So that's going to be the challenge here for Mac, is down 6. Can they chip away at this here and get back into this third set? Mistimed, kept alive off the block. Schreimer goes back to Lepke, and Richards, good job to keep it alive. High ball outside from Pereira. Coppers, power tip in front of Schreimer and down. So there's one. And you don't have, and that's the big key for young players. And I always love explaining it this way because you don't know who's out there watching. You hope they take something from this and they can learn is that you're down 12-6, but you can't score 6 in a row.
Exactly.
Right? Just get one. And that's okay. Ireland missed serve, that's okay. Right? You got one. The key is, though, is siding out on this next ball. If you don't side out on this next ball, then you're in trouble because now the gap goes back to 7 again, right? But go back to the line, get one again, all of a sudden next thing you know, it's 13-9. Right, and that's the way you have to go back to it, is aim to be tied by 20. Don't try to be aimed to be tied at 15. You got a long ways to go here. Doty tries to go back to Ireland, set too tight, has to be put over. Schreimer with the dump. Is that the first dump we've seen in this match?
Yeah, that is, and Schreimer really didn't seem to pull a dump out of his pocket yesterday, a setter attack until, I think, roughly the 3rd set against the Windsor Lancers, and here playing it a little earlier, really good disguise on that one. Definitely helps when you're 6'7", your hands are that far above the net, but picks a good time there as it caught the MAC defense on their heels and able to find the floor. Trinity now doubled up on McMaster, 14-7.
Coppers, left side, good swing there. Okay, so there you go. You got your side out. You had to give them a point to get it, but you know now you're hoping for 13-9. Well, now you got to hope for 14-9, and if they can just chip away, they'll be right back when the time to get to 20.
And it sounds like such a cliche to keep saying, but you really can't you have to take it one point at a time. You just have to say, okay, let's get this point. Then let's get another point after that. And every little piece you can get to add up towards 25. There we see Trinity able to catch the McMaster block, but Mac doing a good job not really letting Trinity go on some big runs. We've just seen them try to chip away, get a point here and there.
And the big key, too, is if you're down by 10 in basketball, you're down by 5 baskets, right? That means the other team has been 5 baskets better than you. But if you're down, right now, you're down by 7. Okay, so let's just make it an even number. If you're down by 6, you're not 6 plays behind as Howe. Tattoos, again, as we go to the timeout, good time to talk about it, 16-8. But you're not behind 8 plays. You're behind 4 plays, right? If you score 4 more points, that means they have 12, you have 12, right? You just got to think, we just had to win 4 rallies. So they're close in this game. We're going to take a look at some replays here, though, from the first part of this 3rd set, 16-8, Trinity leading.
You see again, that pipe
run there.
It's been unstoppable. They run it. Bit of separation. That one there, you saw Jackson Howe sort of going for the 60, and then Lepke sort of flaring a bit toward the left side of the court. But definitely, just like we've seen all afternoon, a lot of side-out volleyball. A big battle off of serve receive for both teams. But Trinity just has looked all around like the better squad in this 3rd set. They've blocked extremely well, I thought. They put a lot more pressure on McMaster serving-wise. They're definitely an all-around talented team, as we've rattled off a lot of their stats yesterday.
Yeah, no, we're seeing Trinity at full throttle here. I mean, they are now... And I think, they would say they probably didn't think they played that poorly in the 1st set. It was a case of Mac really putting them in tough positions. Now 16-8 out of the timeout. Left side, Richards. Good response there off the hands. So Mac's doing a good job of siding out. It's just a matter of now, can we earn some points when we're serving? Can we get some blocks? Can we find a way to slow down this Trinity attack?
Yeah, and oftentimes in volleyball here, as you get to a higher level teams, at the coin toss, when they pick if they can serve or receive to start the match, they usually want to receive. It gives you the chance to have the first attack. So sometimes teams like, being able to have the chance to side out, as we see Howe able to score on their first attack there. Like you mentioned, it's really crucial to be able to put together, a few points while you're serving, hold serve a little bit. Does put a little more pressure on your defense, a little more pressure on your block. If you can beat a team that digs well and slows down the ball on the block, then you're going to be in a lot better shape, especially when you're serving.
Great one-handed stab there by Ulster to keep it alive. They go back row to Coppers, and Coppers sides out. Very much different than, say, tennis, right, where you have the advantage very much into the favor of the server, right? The server holds most times. In volleyball, it's the opposite way, right? The side out usually always wins, and that's where you got to try to steal your points when you can. So being down 7 here, it's going to, it's tough as we're just simply you start running out of time to score points on your serve. But Doty, he's given Trinity trouble. Let's see what he can do on this one. And another tough pass from Elser. Teed up by Schreimer. Off the hands and wide. 18-10 now.
Great adjustment there by Schreimer. Poked that one up with one hand. And we mentioned previously how, yeah, you do sometimes like being able to play set-out volleyball, but obviously when you serve as well as both of these teams do, that does make it even harder. So you like being able to pass and have the first attack, but goes almost without saying, you got to be able to pass the ball up well enough to get an attack.
Richards is going to set as Doty took the first ball. Ireland's ball, a soft block. Great diving job there by Pereira to keep it alive. Goes back to the Trinity side. Passed up there by Howe. Outside Kern, and again off the hands.
Kern done a great
continues.
job.
He's just abusing that block.
Exactly what I was going to say. He's done a great job throughout this match of utilizing the McMaster block. Some might say he takes a bit of a back seat, not being maybe the highest vertical, touching the highest on this Trinity team, but boy, does he make some good shot selections, utilizing the Mac block a lot in the early going of this game.
And a chance to see some replays here as we continue to work our way through the third set. So that was that big block there, right at the start of this set, as Kern tried to swing his way through it, and another block there on the Trinity side. But what you learn is no matter how hard you punch, Tom, you can't punch through a brick wall, right? It just doesn't work.
Usually gonna end up breaking your hand.
That's right. And
get
that's
a bruise.
you see in those ones there. You can swing as hard as you want, but when that block is up there and it's big, it gets you back. There's a line in famous, one of my favorite movies, Bloodsport. You know, Jean-Claude Van Damme, he breaks the brick. You know, he punches through the brick, and the guy says, impressive, the brick doesn't punch back, though. But in these cases, it does, right? The block punches back, it gets you. As Pereira, for what seems to be, you know, the 10th time today, another diving save. But it's finished off by Ushenko. And Trinity, they're just that good. You know, that's the case right now, is they're at full throttle, and the challenge is going to be is not letting them get this lead in the fourth set if you're Mac, because it's looking like Trinity is going to take this third set. They're up 9 points, you know, pretty comfortable position. It's not letting them get up 7-1. You just can't. You know, you just can't let the game get away from you. And people watching at home are saying, well, that sounds silly. Of course you got to keep the game close. But no, literally, you have to keep the game close if you want to win. They just can't let them get comfortable back there, and they start running that full array of offense, right? As we see Elser off the hands. And I think the interesting thing is when they get very comfortable, right, there's so many weapons that Schreimer can use, but when the game's tight, I find at least, he's not as adventurous, right? Not as daring when the game's close. So when they get that lead, they really start going to all those dynamic looks that almost become impossible to stop. Doty outside Coppers. Good job there using the hands of Schreimer. Side out, 21-12, my favorite score in volleyball, because it reminds me of the Rush album, 21-12. It's amazing how it always seems to come up so often. You know, a 9-point spread, you wouldn't think you'd see it too often, but 21-12.
You think at 21-12 here, this is a point where we might see McMaster having to start, you know, setting themselves up for the next set and try to mix it up a little bit. Not try to go, you might be easy to go to guys like Coppers or Richards on most balls to try to get some quick points and try to claw your way back into this one. But with a 10-point deficit with just 3 points to go for Trinity, you kind of got to think it might be time for Doty to start sort of setting for the next set.
And that's what Trinity did a really good job of in the end of the first set, right? They ran the middle a little bit. They established a couple things. That's what Doty's able to do there. He gets the kill from Kotkevich. Make that blocker just wait that, you know, extra split second, put a little bit of doubt in his mind. And I know Trinity does a great job of, you know, they really do a good job read blocking and, you know, making things difficult for those other attackers. But just putting that seed of doubt on the defense, as Richards is going to come in and set the C ball to Ireland. It comes out of the back row. Nice dig there by Elser. Schreimer outside to Lepke. Not a great set. The Mac bench a little bit unhappy there. They thought maybe there was a missed ball handling violation, but it's a 10-point lead now, 23-13. Ushenko goes back to the line.
Crowd continuing to have their opinion be heard to the referee on that last set call.
Doty to Coppers, and that's one of Coppers' best swings. And it all helps, right? I mean, if you can say, break this down. So Trinity needs 2 more points, can we score 4, right? Can we get to 18 before they get to 25? Something, finding a goal, winning something, taking a silver lining out of the end of the set to move something going into the next set. As Coppers goes back, takes a little bit off of it, passed up there by Kern. Pipe back to Kern now. That's the first time we've seen that run where Kern actually comes out of the pipe. And now have a set point opportunity here, 24-14. We just need to quickly get the floor wiped here after that diving attempt. So got a good opportunity just to praise our volunteers here who have been working all weekend long. Great job by the girls here, doing the 3-ball and the floor sweeping and the floor wiping as Kodkevich's attack is covered there by Pereira. Outside to Richards, and Richards uses the hands out of bounds. So, I said, can you get a couple, right? Can you just get a couple points? Take something out of this set as you switch sides.
Yeah, take a few points with you as you head into the side switch should they lose this set. Definitely help you feel a little better going into the fourth. Try to force a fifth as Kodkevich is going to miss that serve to end this third set. Trinity taking a 2-1 lead now. Like you said, some parallels being drawn between the match 2 years ago in this very gymnasium, Jared.
Yeah, the only difference in this one to this point was that the third set 2 years ago was very close, and it was Mac who actually kind of stole it, or sorry, Trinity stole it late from Mac at the end of that set. But it's 2-1 for Trinity Western. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with you for the fourth set after this.
Now there comes a time when it's time to roll. And if you don't want to move, you can lose your soul. You can't sit back being comfortable. You're gonna have to answer yes or no. We need to see what you really believe. Are you down for the cause? Are you willing to bleed? If so, then start throwing the spine. Hop up in the flow, get off the sideline.
Visit athletics.ca to buy your tickets for Toronto 2018 Track and Field in the 6. You don't want to miss it. See you there.
Welcome back, everybody. We are just about ready for set number 4. Jared Brown, Tom McCabe. We're here all weekend long. This is our first of 2 semifinals. It's important to recognize, Tom, we've had 2 matches before this today as well. It was the consolation semifinals earlier this morning, and it was UNB defeating Queens 3-0 and it was a pretty good match. 2 close first sets, and then UNB pulled away a little bit in the third. And then in the second consolation semifinal, it was all Montreal. They were too much for Windsor, so those 2 teams will play tomorrow for 5th, and that will ultimately mean Windsor and Queens, their season is over, but great showing by them making the tournament. And then we also have another big match after this, and that's the fun part, is where do we go after this, right? It feels like we're already at fever pitch, but UBC and Alberta will battle to play the winner of this match. And right now it's Trinity Western who are trying to really put themselves, in elite company by attempting to win for the 3rd straight season this year. if they're able to win the semifinal. Obviously, still a long ways to go here, but McMaster down 2-1. They won the first, but have lost now the second and third. They need to win this one to extend their season for a chance to become national champs. And it's Ashenko who gets the first kill of the fourth set. And Tom, the Trinity Western attack in that third set was quite impressive.
Yeah, nearly unstoppable, whopping 565, a hitting percentage, just one error. And one thing that's really impressive, we talked a lot about the outside Eric Lepke and how crucial he was in those first 2 sets. 12 kills through 2 sets, but only 3 in that third set, which not much compared to the 14 that Trinity had as a team. So really just showing the versatility and the balance they have throughout this lineup.
That ball hit just wide from Richards.
Note though, Lepke is still leading the entire match with his 15 kills. Brendan Copper's not too far behind, 11 for him.
I think the big thing for Lepke with 15 kills is only 3 errors. I mean, a 500 kill efficiency as an outside hitter is quite impressive, especially you can consider he's only a second year, and he didn't play yesterday because he was under the weather in some sort. We're not quite sure what the ailment was, but obviously feeling well enough to play today. But I'm sure if you asked him, he would not be 100%. And the interesting thing too about this is that these two teams played the late quarters yesterday, right? They played at 6 and then at 8, so a bit of a shorter turnaround because they're playing, the host usually plays the first semifinal, which is what's happening here today at 6. So a bit of a shorter turnaround for the teams too. And the nice thing for that though, obviously, is whoever wins this game, they now get the long turnaround for the final tomorrow, right? So it kind of tougher today, but more beneficial tomorrow.
McMaster doing a better job, sort of already keeping it closer than it was a set ago. Up 3-2 here in the very early goings of this fourth set.
As Coppers puts that over bump down, so it's a 2-point advantage. And yeah, I mean, again, the people are probably watching saying, yeah, guys, we get it. The score has to be close. But, I mean, there's been 6 points played. After 6 points played, it was 5-1 for Trinity last time. And already they've earned those 4 points. They start to get really comfortable. Now here, it's only 4-2, but Mac feeling good. You see Coppers put that ball down, and now a miss hit here from Lepke, right? And things start to turn in their favor here a little bit. It goes to the advantage of the Marauders.
Absolutely, crowd getting fired back up into it. Really important. We talked a lot already about the unfathomableness of the Trinity Western Spartans. It's going to be important here for McMaster to show that same quality. Come out here, not be rattled by dropping 2 in a row. You still have a chance to extend the match. You've shown you can do it already. They had a very impressive first set win. So now they can just come out, get back to what was helping them in that first set. Really start to serve tough, stay aggressive, try to get the offense going a little bit more. And as long as they can pass well and serve tough, they could be in very good shape to push this game to a 5th set.
Doty goes pipe to Richards off the arms of Lepke and into the crowd. 6-3, so this is exactly what you needed if you're Mac. This starts to look a bit more like that first set.
That's a great look early from Doty going on that 60 pipe to Andrew Richards. Richards' 8th kill of the match.
That serve from Paslant, hit just wide, a couple tiles wide.
Coach Dave Preston going back with Matt Paslant after sticking with Craig Ireland for most of that third set. Paslant back in on the right side for the Marauders.
Howe back to serve with the chance of freshmen raining down from the Mac supporters. High tip there from Coppers. It's kept alive by Lepke. They go pipe back to him, and that one's the first time I think they've slowed it down, and then it's Richards who comes back with the pipe score of his own. And honestly, the big key was that pipe just hit off the tape a little bit, slowed it down enough, I think, for Pereira, and he was lined up on it perfectly, got the big dig. And Richards comes back with a score of his own, so great job there by the Mac defense.
Yeah, the net always being, I was always taught the net and the antennas are the 2 best blockers on the floor. The tape doing a great job of slowing that one down for Pereira to play up.
Yeah, usually when the ball is hit into the net, it's a block, right? It goes down. We talked yesterday about sometimes maybe hitting the ball so hard it go through the hole in the net,
yeah.
But yeah, if you hit it in the aerial, it's always going to be there at James Point. There's no gray area on that one.
Definitely need to put lots of faith into the antennas. That's
going to be a carry ball call. For you. Richards got a little bit underneath that one, trying to save it. And that great start, by Mac. Trinity's able to kind of bounce back here a little bit and gets it to 1. Kern back to serve. Passed up there by Coppers. They go 30 to Kodkevich, and they've actually ran that connection quite well. The pass off the net, forced the ball back to Kodkevich, and he's almost been most effective in that situation.
Yeah, really impressive run there from Doty to Kodkevich. Being able to run the middle, especially when the ball's off the net like that, can be huge in later parts of a game. You got to keep, the potential for that in the back of the mind of Trinity Western. Let them know that that is something you're willing to run, you will try to do. Always important to execute when you do get those opportunities.
It's interesting, just watching Elser here play this weekend. I had opportunity to see him quite a bit the last few years, but especially at the Canada Games this summer with Team Alberta, where they lost in the final to Team Ontario, and what was really a great match. But Elser, I think he didn't play his best at that tournament at Canada Games, which is obviously a great showcase of the best 18U volleyball players in the country. But I think the big thing, he was just tired. He trained with the full-time center last year, so he kind of decided to forego his grade 12 year and went and trained in Gatineau with the full-time center, and then played with the junior national team, went to the Worlds, and just a lot of volleyball, for a 17, 18-year-old athlete. But now, kind of in a better position here, kind of handling that load. He looks really good out there as a first-year left side, and we put a bit of a curse on him there in his serve, but, known to be a great passing left side for his size. I think you always kind of heard a little bit, that his attack for a bigger player wasn't where you thought it would be. But I mean, looking at him now, I mean, he really has a lot of tools in his box there that he can go back and build with, and like a bright future ahead of these outside hitters here that are all so young for Trinity Western, as that's a great job. But it's tight again. Lefty going to try to do the same thing, and this time goes up with two hands. Some great creativity there by Lepke.
Great strength too, just muscling that one off the block, imposing his will there for a point.
I had some opportunities to chat with Blair Band this summer, the libero on the senior national team, about how at the senior levels, at the international, the game has changed in trouble ball situations. We're used to jacking the ball high, inside, off the net. As what a great dig there. I'll finish the thought after this rally. Doty, middle, dug up by Swan. Lepke's going to set up to Schreimer, and Schreimer with the rare attempt and tries to kind of roll it over, but nowhere to go. But Ban was telling us about how, that's the way we teach it, right, when we're younger. If it's a trouble ball, what do, right? Well, we jack it up, a couple feet off the net, couple feet inside, let our hitter go and get it. But at the international level, they actually move the ball. They want it put right to the net and go up in that power tip where you're using the block to your advantage, and how there's not really much defense for it. And we saw Lepke do it on 2 plays in a row there, once with one hand back to his side, and then the second time was with 2 hands and just simply overpowering the block. And the interesting thing about that was they felt that there really wasn't much defense for it. As a block, there's really not much you could do. If you don't block, the guy's going to see that. He's going to smoke it. So TJ Sanders, the setter with the A-team with Team Canada, he actually has now tried to go with 2 hands and reverse the block as that ball's hit into the aerial. But Tom, instead of going up and pressing, turning his hands and trying to cup the hands so the ball's tipped and throwing it back onto his own side high in the air to defend with it. And that's just that evolution of the game, right? Once somebody does something to score, somebody does something else to defend it, right? That's the way that the game gets better. So we saw a great job there by Lepke using that creativity, as Elser's going to go back to Kern, and Kern cross court, soft block, kept alive. Schreimer back to Lepke, and Lepke down the line, and Eric Lepke continues to show his dominance here. 12-10, and Tom, I'm going to ask you, I know that you were saying you were so excited to see Eric Lepke play live in person. You've heard the name, you see the buzz as we see some replays here, but asking you right now, is Eric Lepke the best player in the country, in your opinion? From what you've seen?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to have to just give the quick answer. I went with my gut. I've heard the stories. I know some guys who have played with him.
Best attacker, we'll say that.
Best attacker, definitely, I would say. A lot of his statistics really do speak for themselves, and especially being so young. He was 4th in the Can West in kills per set, 2nd in the country with total kills. He led Can West in hitting percentage, 2nd in aces per set. So all the numbers are there, and now a lot of rumors going around that he could potentially not even return to Trinity Western next year. Who knows? I don't want to start too many arguments at home, but definitely a player with a ton of potential to be on the senior national team. And from everything I've seen today, I can't think of many other attackers I've seen this year or in past years who have impressed me as much as he has. He's just, he's dominated this game offensively today, and you can really just see how much stronger, how much more balance he can provide for the Trinity Western offense compared to last night when he wasn't in the lineup.
Nice job there by Paslin, out of the timeout. an interesting time out there from Preston. I think we had that great start from Mac, and maybe just feeling at 12-10, you wanted to slow some things down. But the point I wanted to make too is that, when I was coaching at U of M, years ago, and kind of before that, it was fairly common players would almost always, you'd think, play at least 4 years. Not too often would players leave before that. But usually 5 years was pretty common. But now we're seeing some guys a little bit earlier, not necessarily finishing their whole eligibility, right? And I think that speaks volumes to the caliber of play in university, that there's opportunities for these guys. They're being seen earlier, pro teams in Europe, where they have the opportunity to go train with the national team. Something is coming up that allows them to continue to better their game and their development, right? Because ultimately this isn't the last stop for these players as that tip scores. And we're basically here at the USport level, we're a tool, we're a vehicle to get them to that next spot, right? This isn't the final destination for all of our players. For some it may be, but we want them to continue to develop. We want them to go to the national team. We want them to have success at the pro level. And ultimately that's how things are going to get better. And, in a way, if we feel they've reached their potential at this level, it allows somebody else to step in and take their spot, right? Shearhorn, he could have been back, right? He didn't play his full eligibility. It allowed somebody else on the Trinity team to step in, and go out there and have a big role. So I think it's a great thing for the sport. I think it actually speaks volumes to the coaching and the development that we have at this level, as Lepke's pipe is defended and Richards comes back on the D-ball, but into the net. And we're seeing too, a player like Elser decides to take that opportunity to go train with the full-time center last year. Doesn't, play his last year of club. He'd already played 18U. He'd kind of been to that level. How do you get better? You play against better players. How, sir? That one goes long.
There's always the classic saying, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, but at the same time, you got to train with the best. So with a lot of these players, they dominate through their high school ranks. They dominate at the club level. Elser's a great example, going to train with the full-time center, and a lot of these players on both sides been teammates on junior national teams, national B teams, FISHU teams, whatever it is, really able to play some of the other best players in the world. And we're seeing Canada volleyball really on the rise, currently ranked 6th with the senior national team, but a team filled with a lot of youth and a lot of excitement going around. We've talked about already this weekend, just a lot of promise in the volleyball community in this country.
Did you just quote Ric Flair on a volleyball webcast?
I might have.
If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best?
Ric Flair is the best. Do you have that quote trademarked?
I think he does. Schreimer with the dump, and that'll send us to the timeout. 16-14, Spartans lead here in the fourth. It's do or die for Mac. As they're down 2-1, Trinity Western will try to advance to win their 3rd straight USports National Championship, which would be quite the accomplishment. But Mac still stands in their way. They're playing much better here in this 4th set, Tom, they did in the 3rd. I think the 1st set was all Mac. 2nd set, I really thought both teams were playing great. It was back and forth, could have gone either way. 3rd set, really Trinity Western poured it on. Now I feel in the 4th, we've gotten back to that similar kind of mode where we were in the 2nd, where both teams are doing some good things. It was Mac early, now it's Trinity here as they get to the middle stages. Who's going to be able to pull it out? 2-point advantage for the Spartans right now at 16-14.
Yeah, absolutely. Mac doing a much better job than they did one set ago and keeping it close going into the technical timeout. Trinity still hitting that milestone first, but Mac in a pretty good spot. They can still just come out, try to continue to pass well, take care of the ball on their side of the floor. Just try to mount. Don't even need to mount a comeback right now. Like we said, just get 1 point wherever they can, wherever the opportunity presents itself. Whereas Trinity's definitely going to try to get a big point off a serve coming out of this technical timeout. Try to pull away just a little bit.
I asked Kyle this question yesterday in the first game. How many points did you score on your serve to win a volleyball match?
1.
That's right. Tom.
I thought it was a trick question.
No, it kind of is a trick, but as Kern puts that serve in the net. But the reason I asked that is at 16-14, right? You don't have to score any more points on your serve. You just have to side out for the win. You side out 100%, you can't lose.
Exactly.
Now, if you're down, obviously, you do have to score, right? Mac's going to have to score multiple points on their serve now if they want to win this set as they trail. See if they can get one here to tie it up. Lepke, great pass. Schreimer, middle, Ashenko. And Ashenko continues to be impressive in the middle. To our knowledge, he does not have an error in this game.
Not that I'm aware of. Doesn't seem like it
based on the stats that we have here.
Schreimer's really picked his times well to incorporate Ashenko into the middle attack. Ashenko having a very good day blocking-wise.
Elser went after that one, but it was kind of mishit. It didn't really, I don't know if it had any spin as it went out of bounds. Hit it real hard. Back to a 1-point game. I hope everybody watching at home gets the kind of the atmosphere. You know, I hope it shines through on the webcast. You can see how awesome this environment is here. Packed right to the top. As Lepke off the hands, Doty saves. Coppers bumps it outside to Rich, who's gonna swing it, but he just puts it over. Schreimer, Lepke, one-on-one. Good slow down by Passelant, kept alive. Outside, Richards. Bergen with the dig, nice and high. Schreimer outside Lepke again, and this time, the Terminator, Eric Lepke, goes cross-court for the kill. 18-16, and we're again gonna see Maddox Greaves will check in here for the serve.
And a beautiful set on that last kill by Lepke from Schreimer. Delaying his jump just a little bit, was able to draw Bennett Swan in the middle, make him commit. Lepke with a one-on-one. He is going to score on that more times than not. See another missed serve from Maddox Greaves, the serving sub for Trinity Western.
So Greaves, you know, he can mix it up in all different ways, right? We've seen that jump float. He goes back to the aggressive spin serve on that one, but it goes into the net. I mean, that's a tough role. You gotta give those players their due. I mean, coming in off the bench, fourth set, you're gonna ask the spin serve, but obviously coaching staff has confidence in him, and they know that he might miss. They know that he has the green light to go and swing away as Lepke goes off the hands. Schreimer now goes back to the line, 19-17, and you know your Mac, right? You gotta find a hold. You need one hold somewhere to tie this game up. You can't just keep exchanging side outs, and that's why I asked you that question, is because Trinity, they can just simply see the end line here as far as they know the task that's ahead of them. And they were doing a drill inching to tie this back in, and I came to watch their practice on Thursday where it was a wash style drill, 6-on-6, but all they were counting is how many attempts it took to get through all 6 rotations. So all that was mattered is if you side it out, both teams would rotate and you go to the next server, right? So ultimately, 6 points, right? It was like golf. You want to be as low as possible. So anything above 6, that meant that you obviously knew that that's how many times you didn't side out. And that's the drill they're running right now, right? They're at 20 points, and all the coaches are asking them, at any point we score on our serve is a bonus, but we just need to side out 5 times to win. Lepke back to serve, passed up by Coppers. Doty outside, great swing off the hands and down, and Brandon Coppers is feeling it. A good burst of emotion there. And we're going to see a substitution checking in here for the first time today. Number 17, Josh Eklund, will come in. He played a major role last night, came off the bench, made some big plays for the Marauders.
Yeah, he had a huge appearance later in the game. Had a consecutive sequence where he had a really nice kill and then went up with a big solo block in the middle.
Bergen, great pass, outside, pipe. Oh, and it's fooled me. Even looked like it was coming out here to the left, but it was Lepke on the pipe. And now we're going to see substitution checking in here for Howe will be Kozlowski, the serving specialist, number 19. Jordan Kozlowski, his older brother Tyler, I'm sure, I would guess, probably watching somewhere overseas playing pro. If you are, shout out to Tyler Kozlowski, a great libero who won a national championship on this floor 2 years ago in his 5th season. Younger brother Jordan comes in to serve, jump float, taken there by Coppers, pass out the net, Doty, high ball outside, roll shot down the line, and Schreimer saw that short tip coming, came running in to defend it, but Coppers put it over top of him. So Mac, they're doing their part. They're not letting Trinity score any more points on their serve, but I said they need that hold. Maybe it's Coppers' serve who can be so dangerous. Maybe this is the time they can get it. Some great volleyball action here back and forth. It's truly a treat. The best volleyball action in the country at the USports level. Passed way up high, teed up by Schreimer, and he's going to be called over the net. And that's the hold they needed. So there you go. And now Coach Josephson will call timeout. He was totally fine to let that ride all the way if they kept siding out. But now as we're tied 21-21, momentum shifting a little bit here to the Marauders.
Yeah, and a big serve for Brendan Coppers, taking them into this timeout. I totally agree with your point that was the hole they're looking to take advantage of and sort of burst through to tie this game up, but didn't want to say too much. I've had a bit of a broadcaster's jinx, especially when I'm on the air with Mr. Kyle Campo. So I kept my mouth shut, and a great serve by Coppers. I'm happy I didn't force him to miss that one there.
I think we got a replay here, a chance to take a look at some plays from this 4th set. See that ball tipped over and score. Passelant there went way up high to get it, and Bergen was coming across but couldn't come up with it. Ashenko, great kill.
Lashenko and Howe especially just been so efficient in the opportunity they've got, and that's going to really allow sets like that, giving players like Lepke a one-on-one on the outside. The more efficient your middles can be, the more consistent they can be, the better chance you're going to have late in a match of having the other team's middle commit. Opens up a lot more opportunities for your outside hitters.
Copper's huge serve. Schreimer's going to go up high to get it, but he missets it. And Mac now pulls ahead 22-21. And this has gotten everybody here going in the building, led by former Mac captain Alex Elliott. He's doing his part, even though he doesn't play anymore. He's still trying to contribute to the comeback here. 22-21, Copper's on the line. Goes after it again, Bergen, great pass. Schreimer, middle, Ashenko. And Ashenko continues to just be unstoppable in the middle. We have a substitution checking in here for Kern. Will be Ben Lewin. Lewin will come in to serve, and I'm sure we'll see Kern check back in after he's done serving. We're going to see Kotkevich now will come back in for Eklund. Kotkevich a bit more offensive as a middle, Eklund a bit more of a block, but right now you need a side out, so you need Kotkevich out there, and he'll be the next server. Lewin's serve goes long. Advantage back to the Marauders.
That's a big service miss that the McMaster Marauders are happy to take advantage of. Got to put a lot of pressure though on here for them. Try to play some good block defense. Try to slow down this powerful Trinity attack. Curious to see if Schreimer on a good pass if he goes back to Lopke in the back row.
Middle, Ashenko again. And again, I mean, he's just lights out, Tom. He's just playing fantastic out there.
Yeah, it's 12th point of the match already. Second for Trinity Western in total points.
12 points out of the middle. I mean, that's quite impressive. 23-22, we're once again at deuce. Elser on the line, and he puts the serve into the net. And we now have a set point opportunity here from McMaster, and it's Doty who will serve. Josephson has a timeout, but is not going to use it. Oh, and actually he will call timeout. Yeah, decided to call it. And it's interesting how we talked about the serving and how the serving of Trinity has kind of hurt them a little bit as we got to the late stage of this fourth set. They've missed 3 of the last 5 servers, I believe, have missed their serve, and they're not letting, they're not even really that aggressive of serves, right? That's the hard part, I think, is that they're not that hard style challenging serve that's being missed. It's a bit almost on the nerve side of the serves that they're seeing right now. Now it's 24-23. Mac will have a chance to serve for this set to try to extend it to a 5th.
And you bring up a good point, seen a few of the substitutions for the Spartans come in and miss their serve, which I know the Marauders are happily just going to take advantage of. They'll take the ball back. But if you're Trinity, you really hope for a bit better execution from your substitutions. As you mentioned, that margin for error gets so much smaller.
High ball outside, it's going to be Lepke with a chance to extend the set, and he goes over top of the 3-man block. Richards came across, and Lepke just says, no thanks. I'll take that one into the corner. And it's now 24-24 with Ashenko back on the line. So we're getting free volleyball here in this 4th set. Ashenko serve, and oh, it's an ace serve off the hands of Pereira, and Ashenko continues to leave a mark on this match.
Boy, did that one suck the wind and the energy out of the Burge Gymnasium here. As Mac now really, obviously, in desperate need of a side out, as Dave Preston will take a timeout.
Oh, and I just looked up at the board, and I don't know, we're going to take a quick look at a replay here, but as we do, I just want to make mention who Eric Lepke has 26 points in this match, and we're not even done the 4th set.
He has won a set by himself, plus started off an additional set with point.
So obviously points, for those who don't know, that doesn't mean just kills, right? That's kills, blocks, and aces are the 3 ways you can earn a point for your team. 26, that's not a bad day at the office. That's a good weekend for some players, right? You get 26 points in the weekend, 3 games. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm pretty happy with that. So 26, 25, 24 though is the score. And to be fair too, we got to make mention, Coppers has 21. So Coppers not far behind at all. but we have a match point opportunity here with Ashenko on the line. He's been so good in the front row. He just got an ace with him there. Pereira's been rock solid, but he just missed that float serve. Let's see what can happen here. 25-24, everybody on their feet. They want more. They want a fifth set for Mac. Let's see what can happen. Ashenko goes after Pereira again, passed off the net. Coppers, high ball outside to Richards, and Richards hits it long, and it's out of bounds. Trinity Western will advance to the final, try to win their third straight national championship. What a great match from both teams. Full credit, round of applause goes out to both of these teams, but ultimately today, Trinity Western just a little bit better than McMaster. Tom, what a great game of volleyball.
Yeah, first semifinal of 2 here today in Hamilton, and if this is any indication of the type of play we're going to get in our next upcoming match, the boy am I excited. Tremendous effort from both teams. Great atmosphere here in Hamilton today. But yes, like you said, ultimately the Trinity Western Spartans going back to the gold medal match where they are no stranger. Like you said, they're going to look to go for their third straight national gold medal. And hats off to Eric Lebke coming in after not playing yesterday. 26 points in this match. But the McMaster Marauders, with a great effort and still another game to play tomorrow, as they're going to go for bronze, taking on either the loser, taking on the loser of our next semifinal, which will be the UBC Thunderbirds and Alberta Golden Bears.
So that's going to do it for us here, but I just want to say final thoughts on this match is that Mac, they really played their hearts out. It looked tough after the third set. They battled back here in the fourth. They're a point away from taking the set, but it's just a couple untimely errors that led to Trinity stealing that fourth set back. So congratulations to both teams in a well-played match. Good luck to Trinity in the final tomorrow, and of course the hometown MAC team tomorrow in the bronze. So we'll step aside. Teams will clear the court, and then it'll be UBC and Alberta at the top of the hour.